Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, April 26th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing, and the candlestick you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, CXAI, very, very impressive movement. You can see, things. Actually, let's do this real quick so you can actually get that out from behind my ugly mug. There we go. So for this period here, really a whole lot of life being defined as volume, and then you can see just crickets, 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 nothing going on. And then all of a sudden today, life has returned, got some good upwards movement. So you got to think that this one's probably setting off the alarm bells, and a lot of people are going to be keeping an eye on it. And in my mind, the very interesting dynamic here to watch moving forward is right here at this level of resistance, which sits right up at $13. I'm going to call it 25 cents. You can see going back through the history of things, that was essentially where the price got trapped down below here. Then yes, there was that bigger move down, but bounced beautifully off the 200 period moving average. It came back up here, and wouldn't you know it, once again, the price is right at that level. But that brings up a very interesting scenario here, and this is what a watch list is all about. Finding unique, finding interesting situations, and not randomly rushing out and buying stuff, but watching. And so the big question mark headed into Wednesday is all about, can the price finally get up through that level of resistance where, once again, as I speak, the price is struggling? If it can, there are no guarantees, of course, but is it valid? Is it rational to think that a break of this level could finally spark another round of momentum? That's certainly a plausible outcome to keep an eye on. If the price does pull back, then the main area of support to watch, at least in my opinion, initial level will be that purple line right there, the 50 period moving average, currently valued at $9.70. But yeah, no doubt about it. Nice movement today. Still struggling with that level of resistance, but let's see how the price behaves relative to $13.25 on Wednesday. Next one, CNTG. Nice movement here. And what I like about this is you got to think that a lot of people have done this right here. Grab those 2 points and then drawn a trend line just like that. No guarantees, of course, but you got to think a lot of people have done that. And I'm emphasizing a lot of people because when a lot of people are watching the same area and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can surely produce some very dynamic movement. So if the price comes up here and breaks up through there, again, does that guarantee anything will happen? No, but is it valid? Is it plausible to say that that could definitely, odds are, produce good solid momentum because people are buying because they're saying, hey, I'm a breakout trader. Oh, look, that's breaking out. Oh, I'm supposed to buy. Yeah, that is a plausible potential outcome. Again, to reiterate, not a guaranteed one. So if you are somebody that likes to play breakouts, then that trend line right there could very well produce some sort of, even if you just want to call it self-fulfilling prophecy type breakout, keep an eye on that. If you like to play more so pullbacks, then the price is essentially kind of in no man's land right now. It's just kind of hanging out down around here with the next key levels of support, not until all the way down there. I'm not saying that the price will go down there. I'm just saying at the current junction in time, like I said, not really, I suppose you could call that a little miniature area of support right there, but more so broadly speaking, nothing until really down around that area. But like I said, so if you like to play pullbacks, yeah, you're going to need the price to bleed quite a bit more. But if you like to play a potential breakout, then I'd keep an eye on that trend line. Next one here, VIRI, and brutal move today, but late day presents an interesting scenario. So just the quick recap, price gapped all the way up there and then ran all the way up there, and then true story, some poor souls were buying right there, and then the price came all the way down here. However, this is where things get interesting because I'm sure, as you've noticed, that as of now, yeah, the price is heading back upwards, which brings about an exciting question. Is this bounce the start of a much bigger bounce in the upwards direction? Now, there's no guarantees. Maybe it's not. To be fair and to be accurate, maybe this is just a dead cat bounce. This thing's going to continue to crash downwards. But that is a two-sided coin because, well, I mean, maybe it is, and maybe this thing's getting ready to head back up to those highs and maybe even break up through, though. Nobody knows, but the point here, I got a little excited and I hit the keyboard with fell, with knocked over the disaster on my end. But the point here that I was making is it's a two-sided coin because sure, while this scenario is completely possible, well, I mean, so is this scenario. So that's what brings us back to this dynamic here is it's a fun question. It's a worthwhile question to ask, which again is the whole premise of a watch list, to find those unique, to find those interesting situations and not rush out and start buying stuff, but to watch it and see how it continues to play out. So yeah, is this bounce right now the start of a much bigger bounce back to the upside? Let's keep an eye on it. Next one, FRC, which has been very, very much so in the headlines and was looking good. And then the earnings came out and this thing just has continued to get destroyed all day. But this goes back to, now I'm not going to call it a super popular stock, but I am going to call it a popular stock in the sense of it's been in the headlines quite a bit. And when you have a popular stock that's gotten beat down in a hurry, and you know there's a bunch of shorts on it, then it's always worth keeping an eye on because you can get some very, very solid tradable movements here. And like I said, anyway, I mean, this trend line right here is insane. Look how essentially straight down that trend line is. So that just really illustrates how much of a beatdown this thing has had, because I mean it takes quite a bit to be able to draw a trend line with that sort of angle on it, but it was possible today. And then you look at the final 30 minutes. So as I speak, you can see this volume bar is huge. You look in over here and look at just that volume pouring in as I speak. So again, throws a question, is this finally the sellers exiting for the final time where we can get some sort of bounce to the upside? And I mean, and this definitely assumes that you can, be disciplined, honor stop loss and risk management. But I mean, even if this thing just bounces up to, let's just even call it 11. I mean, even if it doesn't go up to 11, but let's just say that. I mean, relative to what's being risked, you could be looking at a very, significant, very nice risk reward scenario. Some would call this trying to catch a knife, and I would not disagree with that. But I do know some people like to do that within their strategies because they can structure very small risk compared to potential rewards if you get the bounce. So yes, popular stock, absolutely beat down. There's a bunch of shorts on it. So, I mean, any sort of spark to the upside, definitely could get some of them covering and create a nice little bounce. So worth keeping an eye on. Next one, AMC. Nice movement here today. Now, I realize that a little bit of perspective, if you're somebody that bought right here or bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within, 7 minutes, well, then, yeah, you don't like to see this pullback. But taking a step back and look at everything, broadly speaking, a nice little pattern here has formed. Maybe some people would disagree with this, and I don't think I'd call them crazy, but maybe a little kind of bootleg version of a cup and handle, maybe somewhat. But point here being is the thing broke out, pulled back, but the key about this pullback here is that it did not keep pulling back and crashing and keep on bleeding. No, it's leveled out, and where it leveled out was right at these moving averages, which is encouraging, and now it's starting to show some signs back upwards. So let's see if this is a early phase of a potential turnaround, or who knows, maybe it goes back up to those highs and even pushes up through them. But in my mind, the key area of resistance, before you can talk about those highs, is going to be right up there around $5.18. So yeah, nice movement here, but $5.18, at least in my opinion, is going to be that first key level. And especially if it's a high volume break of that level, then I think it's very reasonable to think that the price could get up to that high, if not even push up through it. But all in all, like I said, assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, good solid price movement here on AMC. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here in a couple of days. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live online class. Next one here, NIO, and the bloodshed continues, but what makes this interesting here is got a nice bounce here. And NIO, I would definitely consider a cult stock. A lot of people out there, and when cult stocks get beat down in a hurry, it's worth keeping an eye on from more so that FRC type of logic where you just never know, because there's quite a been shorts pouring into this. Can those shorts, get ignited and need to start covering, worth keeping a close eye on. First update, though, is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So 805 going in the day was that key level of support. And when the price broke down below it right there, just a classic example of that support then acting as resistance as it got rejected right there. But even if the price does break above there, I want to get too excited because not that far away, you then have that 50-period moving average looming up overhead. So just keep that in mind. And I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. In terms of levels of support, best case scenario from a support standpoint, I would say right there at $7.80. And then if 780 can't quite hold, then, it seems quite reasonable that the price could, minimum go down and test that 760 mark. But as of now, yeah, a bounce is underway. Is this a dead cat bounce or not? That, still remains to be seen, but worth keeping an eye on. Next one here, UVXY, very, very big movement here. And this one can get moving in a hurry. Biggest volume it's had in a while, and as I speak, you can see the last 30 minutes here, volume is continuing to come in very rapidly as this nice green candle here forms. So the breakout, or I should say the initial breakout, has already happened. That key breakout being the price has gotten above that pink line and has managed to so far stay above it, that pink line being the 200-period moving average. But again, a breakout has occurred, but that allows you to at least ask the question, okay, so is this the start of an even bigger breakout? And you can ask that question if no breakout has ever happened, right? It would make no sense to say, wow, is this breakout the start of something bigger and there's been no breakout? So obviously that makes no sense, but the breakout has occurred. So yes, technically speaking, you missed playing the breakout right there. But if this thing continues and builds more momentum, then who knows? Maybe where it's at right now is going to look very low compared to where it's at near the end of the week. So worth, once again, with the idea of a watch list, keeping an eye on and just, seeing how things continue to play out. Next key interesting level, at least in my opinion, up there at $4.35. You can see back here, had some price history up around that area, broadly speaking. So we'll see if it can occur. But yeah, no doubt about it. Big volume today. Got the breakout. Let's see if it's the start of something maybe even bigger. Next one, TSLA Tesla. And this is one where earlier in the day, it gapped down below that trend line, tried to get above it. And now as I speak, things are rolling back over. But what I find interesting, this will mean a little bit more to those that have watched past videos. But if you have, hopefully remember me talking about that purple line there, 50 paired moving average, and you can see just the power of charts. So I'll turn that into a quick plug, get signed up for that free class. But right here, you can see the price seems to be very, very leery of that pink line or the purple line. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the price will never, ever be able to get up above that purple line. I'm just saying that it's become quite clear that the price is respecting that level. So if there is any sort of attempted turnaround, keep a very close eye on that purple line, which its value as of right now is at 162.80. So watch that. And then in terms of levels of support, and this is by no means some sort of great discovery, you got to think a lot of people will be watching. So you have a very real possibility of some self-fulfilling prophecies. But that's this area down here at 158.50. You can see it's bounced once. Then this morning came down there and bounced once again. So if this is indeed headed down there, everybody, their brother's uncle, from shorts to longs and everybody in between is going to be watching that level. Of course, longs will be watching it thinking, okay, let's see if it can bounce. Shorts are going to be watching it saying, well, let's see if it can fail and break to the downside. So you're going to have and then you have everybody in between. But that doesn't take away from the fact that 158.50 looking like it could be coming into play. And if it does, a whole lot of people will be watching. Next one here, BXRX, a very ugly looking chart, but as you longtime viewers know what I'm going to say next, there can be opportunity in the ugly, and these sorts of situations I know I mentioned earlier, but if you're not good at managing risk, if you refuse to use a stop loss and all of that sort of stuff, I mean, you shouldn't be trading in the first place, but you definitely shouldn't be trading scenarios like this because, this thing is definitely kind of one of those trying to catch the falling knife, but you do have some very logical areas, and the most logical area on this one, what makes it interesting, is this level down here at the $1.80 mark for two reasons. Number one, you can see that the price has already been down here once, and that's where you got the bounce. Number two, that's also, broadly speaking, where that 200 paired moving average is at. Yes, it's at $1.87, but point here being is just generally speaking, right around this little area right here, the price could very well come down there, find a bid, and then, bounce back upwards. And again, from a risk-reward scenario, even if you get just a modest bounce, compared to what was being risked, you could structure yourself a very nice risk-reward scenario. So if you like this sort of scenario, trying to find opportunity in the ugly, you like building those nice little risk-reward scenarios, keep an eye on it. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe that the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise. Just allows you access at a much lower price point, so makes it very popular. But the NASDAQ did not rise today, so that's why this one also had a brutal day. And just a lowest this has been down since when was this? Price was down here last time, back here in essentially late March. So several weeks since the price has been down around this area, but very rough day today in the markets, which from a technical point of view brings about the first key update. When levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance, which if you zoom in closely, you can see right there, price broke below it, then rejected. So not saying that level can't be broken, but just saying it makes sense why the price did get rejected at that area. And as far as, if the price does try to bounce back upwards, 25.60 is going to be that initial key level. And then from more so the broad point of view, continue to watch that trend line up there. But I'll be the first to admit that level is kind of irrelevant right now. But I just want to keep it in place because at some point in the future, this trend line will come back into play and be relevant. What about areas of support? Well, as I already did, we're having to squeeze things down here quite a bit to find where the next level of support could very well be. And at this point, we're looking at a potential gap close. And let me be very clear. Gaps do not have to close because if something has to happen, that implies the market offers guarantees, which it does not. But 24.87 now officially seems like a very potential and valid area where the price could come down there, close that gap, and then you have some very interesting, is it going to bounce from there? Is that just the start of even more bloodshed to come? Some exciting questions can be answered. But until the price gets down around that 24.85 mark, from a technical point of view, the price is kind of officially in no man's land, just kind of drifting out in the middle of nowhere. But we'll see how it continues to play out. But yeah, no doubt about it. Rough day today for the NASDAQ and therefore TQQQ. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the class in a couple of days. It'll be Thursday, April 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these and would like for me to continue putting the time and effort to get these out to you, do two things for me. Hit the like button, leave a comment, say hi. Tell me what you traded today. Did you make money? Did you lose money? Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But hitting the like button, leaving a comment, go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy. So I thank you in advance. So like I said, hit that like button, leave a comment below, get signed up for that free class. Take care. Have a good one.